The Amazing Spider-Man. So, The Amazing Spider-Man is a reboot of the original Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy with Tobey Maguire, and it's a reboot. In the film, Peter Parker, played by Andrew Garfield, is bitten by a genetically altered spider, and he gains newfound spider-like powers and ventures out to save the city from a mysterious reptilian foe known as the Lizard. So, I don't know. So, yes, there will be spoilers, by the way. So, let's just get... So, I took notes. I normally don't take notes, but in this case, just in case I forgot something, I want to put everything in. So, I've made some notes. So, why not? So, yeah, there will be spoilers. So, let's not waste any time. Let's dive right into the film. Okay, so the marketing... Alright, so, number one. So, the marketing of the film is the untold story, and it really isn't. It's the same story told over again. Peter Parker gets bitten by a radioactive spider. He gets powers. Uncle Ben dies. He uses, great power, great responsibility, and he uses his powers to save and protect the people of New York. And yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, we get a little bit of his origin, that's something I've always wondered about. Like, whatever happened to Peter Parker's parents? Like, why does he live with his uncle and aunt? I know what happened. I know who his parents are in the comics, but not, this take on not this take. So, yeah. So, I've been studying and really focusing on the character of Peter Parker, Andrew Garfield's, his portrayal, his iteration of the character of Peter Parker. Not Spider-Man, just solely Peter Parker. And he's portrayed as having this sort of, he looks exhausted, he just... It's like he's exhausted. He looks exhausted. It looks like he hasn't paid attention. It's like he's having some sort of hangover. And also, he's a punk skateboarder. He's a punk teen who loves to skateboard. And there's one scene in the film where he's got his new powers, and he decides to skateboard, and the whole scene with the music playing, with the song playing in the background, it just feels like a Tony Hawk music video. But yeah. So I don't really like Andrew Garfield's iteration, his version of Peter Parker, but I really love his portrayal of Spider-Man. So for me, Tobey Maguire is a better Peter Parker. Andrew Garfield is a better Spider-Man, and we'll have to wait until after Spider-Man No Way Home so I can really get to know more about Tom Holland. But for now, let's just leave it as it is. And with great power, great responsibility, it's a very impactful and iconic line, speech given by Uncle Ben. In the original Spider-Man Tobey Maguire film, Cliff Robertson delivers it, and it was so emotional. Like, you felt it. The way he took his time to deliver the speech to Peter Parker, and Peter Parker's like, "You're not my," and then Uncle Ben's like, "I know I'm not your father," and then Peter Parker's like, "Well, then stop pretending to be." Like, I'm like, "Damn, Peter, that was very rude and but it was but it felt very real and very impactful. Like, I felt it." And here, I didn't really feel it. It's like the movie is afraid, because it's a reboot. It's like the movie is afraid to deliver the same speech. They want to go a different route. They want to do a modern take of the great power, great responsibility speech. And even though Martin Sheen, even though Martin Sheen I love him, I really enjoyed his take on Uncle Ben. The whole speech felt very forced. like very forced and like very sudden. I just didn't really feel it, unfortunately. And, you know, Spider-Man is a very colorful character. Like, his costume is very bright, very colorful, and yet the tone of the film is very dark and very serious, like, and very gritty. It's like they want to copy The Dark Knight, but that's the problem. Spider-Man is not Batman. He's not this serious, brooding, dark vigilante. He's very funny. He's a very fun, energetic character, and a lot of the movie is shot during nighttime. Like, it's just doesn't, like, the tone is completely off, and it doesn't fit the character of Spider-Man. And speaking of Spider-Man, like, his costume, yeah, okay, it looks like a fucking basketball. I'm sorry, but it really does. It looks like a basketball. Like, it looks like a basketball. They could have done better, but yeah. They could have done better with the costume, and like the lenses, and it's like yellow. But I do like the web shooters. The web shooters are very cool. And you know, I was, you know, after rewatching the Spider-Man trilogy, I felt like the people of New York, like the city of New York, like everyone, like all the citizens and civilians of New York, I felt like all of them were a character themselves. Like, they are defending Spider-Man. They are protecting. Like, they have a voice. And here, there's not. Like, the people of New York, there really isn't. And I'm sorry that I keep making comparisons to this movie to the original Spider-Man trilogy, but I have to. It makes sense, wouldn't it? Like, in the original trilogy, they had a voice. They were like a people. They were people. You know, they were a character themselves. Here, like, just one guy, just one construction worker. That's it. Just one construction worker. Like, Spider-Man saves one construction worker's kid, and he's like, oh man, this guy saved my kid. I gotta do something. We all have to do something about it. It's just, I didn't like it at all. It didn't felt emotional. It didn't felt anything. I didn't feel anything about that. And let's talk about the villain of the Lizard. I can't. I'm sorry, but Rhys Ifans. I don't know how to pronounce the actor's name who plays Dr. Connors the Lizard. But I think he's a good actor himself. I think as an actor he's really good. But this Lizard, this villain, I mean, he's lost an arm and he's trying to grow it back. And it's a very bad, like, the Lizard is a very poor villain. Like, the way they handled his character is very poor. Now, there is a deleted scene where we get to see his son, we get to learn, we get to see, like, his humanity in him. But that scene was deleted. It was a deleted scene. I'm not going to pretend and act like it was part of the film because it's deleted, which means it was cut out from the theatrical cut, from the theatrical film. That's what deleted scene means. So, yeah. And also, like, after he turns into the Lizard for the first time, he starts thinking like, oh, humans are very weak, they're very poor, we can evolve each other, we can evolve ourselves into something more, something better. It's just like, it's like the whole sudden, like, it just felt, it didn't work for me. It just didn't work. And plus, like, Peter Parker, Spider-Man stumbles upon his laboratory, like, underwater, like, in the sewers, and there's literally a table filled with exposition, like a video of Dr. Connors explaining his plans and what he, his plans, his motivation, his belief, and everything. It just felt, it was terrible. It's just terrible. And there's so many research from there was so many research, like Peter Parker, like researching like spider bites and spandex, like going on to Bing. Bing must have paid Sony like a lot, like they must have paid Bing a lot of money to feature in this film. It's just a lot of research. And also, after Uncle Ben died, like after he got shot and got killed, Peter Parker, Spider-Man starts hunting down like the person, like the killer. Like he goes from, you know, he puts on like a mask, these sunglasses, and like this red mask and a sunglass and these black sunglasses, and start looking all over the city for this killer. And then they just completely drop that subplot. They didn't like wrap it up. Like, what happened to his killer? What happened to his killer? Like, he's going from, like, he's stopping one criminal to another criminal. He's, you know, checking if they have like the star on their left hand. He's going all over the place looking for the killer, and then the movie just dropped that subplot. It didn't wrap it up. It's just like, all right, well, we failed to. It's like, all right, well, we failed to catch the killer. All right, let's move on to the next scene. And the character of Aunt May, it's like, it's just only one thing. Like, it's only one thing, like one note. Like, Aunt May, like Peter Parker comes back home, Aunt May gets worried. Peter Parker comes back home, Aunt May gets worried again and again and again. Like, her whole job, her whole character is just worrying about Peter Parker, about Spider-Man. That's her character. You know, Sally Fields. And also, the movie keeps bringing up, you know, Irfan Khan. I believe, hopefully I pronounced his name correctly. But he keeps bringing up, you know, Norman Osborn is dying. Save him, save him, save him. Why should I care about a character that I haven't even met yet? His name keeps getting mentioned over and over again. We get a silhouette of the man, but we don't actually see him. So why should I give a shit about a character who's dying when we haven't even met him? And also, you know, like I said, the deleted scenes. There's like a bunch. You know, one where we see what happened to Irfan Khan's, like the fate of his character, and also a little bit of like the human side of Dr. Curt Connors, the Lizard, where we get to see his son. He takes his son to school at the bus stop, and then Captain Stacy's, and then at the end of the movie, Captain Stacy's promise. Like, Captain Stacy dies, and his dying wish, his dying promise, is for Peter Parker to stop seeing Gwen Stacy. And what does he do at the very, like the last shot, like the very end of the movie, before, you know, the film cuts to black and then the end credit, and then the credits start to roll? He starts seeing Gwen Stacy. He breaks the promise and starts seeing Gwen Stacy again. Fuck this. You know, I will say this. Tobey Maguire. Andrew Garfield. Toby's on my mind. Andrew Garfield, I really like his interpretation, his performance here. And I love Emma Stone. The two actors actually dated for a while, while shooting, while behind the scenes shooting the film. So that's very nice, and it really helps their romance and their relationship on screen, like as Peter Parker and Emma Stone. As Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy. My mind is all over the place with this movie. But I do like the score of James Horner. I do like his score. This modern, it feels very modern. I do like his score. So yeah, don't get me wrong, I don't hate this movie. This movie isn't shit, but there's a lot of problems in this film. Another thing is that it got Spider-Sense completely wrong. Like, no, not completely, but like there was one part in the film where like Peter Parker's Spider-Sense goes off, and there's like a crime in the city, and his Spider-Sense goes off. That's not how spider sense works. Like, if it doesn't, it's not a crime detector. His spider sense is not a crime detector, like a crime alert. Alright, if there's a wildfire or there's like someone getting robbed in fucking Alaska, his spider sense doesn't go off. So this is how spider sense works. When danger approaches Spider-Man, Peter Parker's Spider-Man, when danger approaches Spider-Man, his spider sense goes off. His spider sense goes crazy. That's how spider sense works. It's not a crime detector. It's not a crime alert. So yeah, they got the spider sense wrong. But yeah. And also his, I don't know. And also his Spider-Man, like, kind of, I don't know what to think. So yeah, so don't get me wrong, I'm not shitting on this film. There are a couple things that I do like about the film, but there's tons of issues that I have with this film, and I just listed them all. So yeah, and let me know if you've noticed or any other flaws with the film. But so yeah. So anyway, thank you so much for taking your time to listen to my review. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video, and I will see you guys soon.